Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. And good afternoon for some of you as well. Welcome to Sage Webinar Podcast, Disruption and Automation, Today's New Norm, right? This is actually the episode number 5, and we'll be putting a lot of concentration in terms of how do you save your hours of repetition task with Sage, in a sense. Me, myself, I believe some of you have seen me before. I've been a couple of hosts for a couple of the episodes as well. My name is Chee, and I'll be your host today. Okay. In our previous sessions, we have spoke a lot about automation in terms of how apps can assist your business automate and basically help you navigate an ever-changing digital landscape. Today, we'll go in a little bit more and talk on how do you save hours of repetitive tasks with Sage. In today's session, we are honored to have Wayne, the head of programmer at Peresoft, and also Karita, the senior programmer at Peresoft, who will be sharing us a little bit more in depth of the knowledge of Peresoft products, what RecXpress has to offer when you're doing bank reconciliation, and many other benefits as well that we'll go into a little bit more in detail. With that being said, without further ado, I shall hand over to Wayne and Karita to give us a short introduction about yourself.
Thanks for having us, Chee. Yeah, thanks for having us. We at Peresoft have been Sage 300 development partners since 1983. We are based in Cape Town, South Africa. Over the past 4 decades, Peresoft Cashbook has been established as the de facto cash management solution for Sage 300 internationally. As of today, we have more than 500 companies worldwide using our products and many solution providers dealing with our products and recommending them to their clients.
Hi, I'm Karita. It's a pleasure to be here, Chee. Wayne and I are the key developers of all Peresoft products, and we are here today to share with you the advantages of using RecXpress in conjunction with Cashbook. We are confident in the power of RecXpress and know the hours of repetitive work you can save will be invaluable when using this program.
All right, thanks for the short introduction, Wayne and Karita. Right? I mean, that was definitely an informative background. Before we really dive proper into our team today, basically, the fundamentals of bank recon. Basically, today, with an RPA and also a automation becoming key drivers of value for the business, for the officers, and most importantly, the finance folks nowadays, right? So when it comes to finance and accounting, I'm sure many finance personnel or teams or accounting personnel as well spends a lot of time on repetitive tasks for routine processes on a wide range of activities such as collecting basic data, making complex decisions, and also consulting their business leaders in that sense, right? Given the large amount of low complexity and high volume of manual processes involved, it seems that automation may very well serve this industry in this prospect. I mean, all this while, like I've mentioned a couple of times as well, right? Digital transformation and automation has always been a main thing over at the other part of the business. But I think finance is one which is lacking in that sense. So, but within this industry itself, that the finance topic, right? There are a lot of tasks that can be automated. Looking at this slide per se, according to McKinsey, up to 42% of finance activities can actually be fully automated by existing technologies. And that's quite a bit of that in that sense. So about a third of these opportunities in finance can be captured using basic task automated technologies such as automating your complex journal entries, performing 2 or 3 ways invoice matching, applying cash to outstanding invoices, etc., etc., etc. Right? I believe that the benefit is let's just go on. Maybe I will just go with you, Wayne. Can you share with us a little bit more on this perspective?
Yes, Chee Thong. As you're aware, many of our clients use Cashbook to do their bank reconciliation. And with RecXpress, you add a new layer to our Cashbook. The purpose of your bank reconciliation is to match your Cashbook balance to the corresponding amount in your bank statement. You can imagine that this is a laborious task, and in today's digital world, it's expected to be automated. This is where our product RecXpress comes in.
That's correct, Wayne. RecXpress will do a 99% reconciliation for you by matching thousands of transactions automatically. Automating this manual process will save your company days of work. Not only will it match your entries, it will also automatically create entries that you do not need to enter into Cashbook, as the bank has already got that information for you in your statement. For example, bank charges, stop orders, leases, automatic charges, etc. We will be referencing this powerful feature later on in the session. Now, how does RecXpress work in a nutshell? RecXpress keeps your bank statement correct by automatically calculating the statement balance when importing your bank statement. Once you have imported the transactions, RecXpress will have matched transactions based on the criteria in this flowchart. It will first match by reference, then by amount, and lastly by date. If there are multiple amounts of the same, we match them in descending order of date. As RecXpress imports your bank statement, it will check in Cashbook Bank for a matching transaction from your bank statement. These will be grouped according to match, no match, and matched with error status. For all no-match transactions, predefined rules will then be brought into play, and all of this happens at once. The predefined rules that you can easily set up will then attempt to group all the unmatched transactions. RecXpress will then check in the rules to get the defaults like GL accounts, tax codes, etc., in order to create a batch, which you can then use to post and update your bank reconciliation without having to manually input these transactions. Once you have posted the batches, all the transactions from your bank statement will be correctly matched. For any that weren't matched, you can set up rules on the fly, and these will be saved for the current and the next import.
Well, thank you, Karita. I think that was a brilliant sharing in terms of matching process. I think it will help a lot of our audience and customers in terms of providing a bird's eye view on how the matching process is handled. I still believe, I still believe that there could be much better way of doing this with what in the past of what we have done. I mean, looking back, I think a lot of our customers or a lot of finance folks in the past was doing this manually and checking one by one in terms of lines, and that is really laborious, like what Wayne was talking about just now. So I believe that our audience will be very much interested to know how can we get the bank statement to be formatted and to the requirement of a bank and RecXpress. So in terms of to really ease the whole process a little bit more, can you probably share a little bit more, Karita?
Sure, Chee Thong. We have more than 200 bank formats already developed for RecXpress. If you want a custom bank statement format included in a list of formats, we just need a sample file to test with and a layout from your bank. You may find that we have already written your bank's format. Otherwise, we offer a free bank statement per RecXpress purchased, which we will develop for you to fit your needs. 26 of those formats that we already have are for the Asian continent. You can easily view a list of all the formats we have available for RecXpress by going to RecXpress Bank Formats. All our formats are separated by region. And I'll just add there, we have them on our website as well, all the formats we have.
Wow, brilliant. Thanks for the certainly useful information, Karita. So in that sense, just to add on a little bit, traditionally, most business owners receive bank statements, either whether it's online, they download it, or basically through the snail post in terms of mail in that sense, right? And at the end of the month, they will keep this information into Excel to do comparison for real-time updates, like what I was talking about just now in that sense. So with that being said, using technology powered by RPA, it can automate the whole bank recon process. which I would want probably Wayne for you to share a little bit more on how RecXpress actually utilize it and improve this workflow.
Yeah, sure thing, Chee. Doing a bank recon manually is obviously a time-consuming process, and it can be inaccurate and error-prone. Peresoft has taken this away by giving you RecXpress, which removes the possibility of errors and the time consumption of a manual bank reconciliation, as well as automatically creating entries directly from your bank statement. Peresoft has developed bank import formats for multiple banks in the world, streamlining this procedure. This time-saving service is invaluable, and it will save you days of work. The ability to import your bank statement means you can free up other resources and use them elsewhere.
If I may add to that, what Wayne has pointed out, RecXpress is truly a great product, saving the client hours, if not days of work. Peresoft therefore wants to continuously enhance RecXpress to improve the client's experience whilst reconciling their cashbook. Being in the forefront of this technology, Peresoft will be providing all 3 different bank feed technologies in the near future. Now, what exactly does the bank feed technology offer? There are currently 3 methods to get your bank statement automatically into your cashbook reconciliation. The first and the most popular is to import the bank statement. This has been the main method used for more than 20 years and is provided by all banks. Some of the advantages include over 200 formats currently available, unlimited new formats easily added, and customizable to the client's exact requirements. There is really only one disadvantage, which is that the client needs to download and import the file manually. SFTP and FTP is relatively new, and we are still in development phase. Advantages would include no need to keep track of what statements to download, always up to date with the latest bank transactions, customizable to the client's exact requirements. Disadvantages would be limited availability, must always be online, and extra bank charges.
Well, that's good to hear, Karita. I mean, you also mentioned earlier about rules and how to customize the process. You're saying that more can put in and so on. Could you elaborate that a little bit more in that sense?
Yes, sure. One of the biggest errors in doing a reconciliation is for transactions that you can't find. And a unique and powerful feature of RecXpress is the ability to create limitless rules to match these transactions by creating the entries automatically. When you import the bank statement, it matches the entries by reference, date, and/or amount, depending on what you've selected. Any entries that it does not find a match for in Cashbook, we call these no-match entries. RecXpress will now further attempt to match these no-match entries by using the defaults that were created in the rules. RecXpress will compare the descriptions to pick up the defaults to then create the batch and create the entry, which can then be automatically posted. We then generate the entries using the defaults for the user to post to Cashbook, as well as general ledger, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. For those of you who are familiar with Cashbook, rules will allow you to use your distribution codes, source codes, and apply transactions to vendors and customers. These entries will be directly posted to AR and AP. For example, a rule can be created to match your deposit or payment amount to a particular customer or vendor invoice. What we have described is just the tip of the iceberg. Each time you add to your rules, each completed reconciliation brings you closer to a correct match. By constantly customizing and tailoring your rules, you will evolve your product to give you a perfect reconciliation month after month.
That sure sounds a great way to automate the process, Karita. Keeping accurate records of the bank transactions can really help a company determine their financial health, and most importantly, avoid costly fees that normally comes with it, right? Typically, the accountant or the finance person needs to ensure that the actual money in the bank matches the bank statement at the end of the month. So Wayne, could I ask you to share a little bit more in terms of the typical challenges in a bank recon for most of the users in users?
Yeah, sure thing, Chee. I would say the challenges include accuracy and then with entries that have not been created in Cashbook, like bank charges, leases, other entries that would have been created by the bank would then have to be manually entered. Previously, before RecXpress, you would need to create a batch for all of these bank charges, etc., that you would not enter into Cashbook. This is now done automatically with RecXpress by remembering certain default criteria, as Karita described above. The whole point of RecXpress is to make any manual intervention minimal, therefore removing human error from the bank reconciliation. The fact that the reconciliation can now create entries automatically for you and remember month after month what the default entries are for these entries by using rules allows you then to generate thousands of entries and not have to manually enter them. The rules would contain the defaults used to set the entries up to be created, like GL accounts, tax tracking, other tax information, and the matching criteria. Because these defaults are automatically used to create the batch for you, you don't have to worry about going into the wrong GL accounts when you post the entries. As you can well imagine, the accuracy of the recon becomes over 99%. And all of this happens while you're importing the bank statement, just a click of a button. When you were doing this manually, without RecXpress, you would have had to enter this in manually. This is where it can become quite error-prone, because you can miss entries. With RecXpress, this would now be automated with the correct GL accounts being set up. RecXpress will use your predefined defaults to automate this process. By continually updating and customizing your rules, your level of accuracy will improve each time.
Wow, just imagine the large volume of transactions that can impact a bank account. It definitely is imperative for a company to automate the bank process, the process of reconciliation in that sense. So Wayne and Karita, at this juncture, could you share with the audience what is the best way and how to automate, how can automation improve the business processes?
Yeah, I would say the best way absolutely is to import your bank statement. Since we custom write it for a particular bank, for a particular client, with direct input from the client through their service provider, this plays a role in accuracy from the start.
That's right, Wayne. In addition, using an automated RecXpress import will get rid of the human error element that you will experience when doing a bank reconciliation manually. RecXpress will fully automate this process. RecXpress is used by over 500 companies around the world, with that number increasing monthly. Peresoft is very proud to cater to many different industries. These industries include a wide range of hotels, government departments, sports companies, energy sector, and many other industries. You can imagine the number of transactions each of these industries have to process a month. With RecXpress, their bank reconciliations go from taking a few weeks to now being just a few hours. To give you an idea of how quick RecXpress operates at, we benchmark tested importing 5,000 records. RecXpress imported all 5,000 in under 2.5 minutes with a 95% match. The more your rules evolve, the higher, the more accurate the matching process will be.
All right, great benefits indeed, Karita. I can see all these make it so much easier for the finance team to eliminate all the manual works that we're talking about just now. But Wayne, in terms of the speed of the ROI, the return of investment, and what are the actual real benefit that the company would have once it takes up the automating bank reconciliation process?
I would say undoubtedly the biggest benefit here would be saving the time that you would have spent on a manual reconciliation. The time you will save is days, if not weeks. When it comes to costs, your staff will now be available to pursue other tasks. The process will save the client days of processing time, eliminate input errors, and help you cut down on accounting and auditing time. Finally, you can sleep at night.
I especially agree with your last point, Wayne. The benefit of being able to free up your personnel needed to do a manual reconciliation by using this automated process is undisputed. In today's world, you just don't need to do a bank reconciliation without importing the bank statement directly into your software. This was a thing of the past when the statement would arrive in the post and a room full of clerks would have had to manually reconcile. You are now able to import all bank statements, as all banks now provide you with an online and exportable bank statement. As mentioned earlier, Peresoft then develops the import format for you, customizing it to suit your business perfectly. If you are still doing a bank reconciliation manually, moving over to an automatic import is definitely exciting and beneficial.
Excellent stuff, Wayne and Karita. Maybe can you also share a little bit more in terms of what RecXpress have planned in the future and what kind of new features that Peresoft is busy on to develop to ease our finance folks more in the future?
Yeah, thanks. Thank you for asking, Chee. At Peresoft, we are constantly striving to improve and enhance all our solutions. And at the moment, we're busy with something quite exciting that further automates RecXpress, making your bank reconciliation even more hands-off. We are developing the ability to have automated bank feeds, which means the user can set up the bank for any type of connection they require. RecXpress will fetch your bank statement from any SFTP or FTP location you have set up, and then automatically import that into RecXpress. The user would no longer have to download the statement themselves, removing one more step from the process.
Another feature we are busy with is the ability to import multiple statements into a temporary file and allow the user to select which statement they want to import, and then to reconcile that statement using a date range. At Peresoft, we are dedicated to improving our product's workflow and ensuring that our solutions are future-proof.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing with us the in-depth capabilities of RecXpress. And I believe the benefit will bring real value to the business and organization, right? I mean, gone were the days that I still hear a lot of finance stuff, which is when it comes to month end, they'll have T-5 and +5, they can't take any leaves. I think that's something that we really want to improve in what we are doing currently, right? So in order to sum it up, Peresoft has shown us how RecXpress, in conjunction with Cashbook, can minimize the time spent and also human errors in your organization in the financial processes through digitalization of your bank reconciliation process. All right. Before I thank Wayne and Karita, I would just want to open up to if there's any questions from our attendee over here that you guys want to ask, since we have our two guest speakers here a little bit more. I mean, it doesn't need to be exactly RecXpress. It could be something which is you have a key pain point about reconciliation that you want to just ask a little bit more in terms of how is this being addressed globally, because RecXpress is really the SME expert in terms of this process in that sense. All right, so we have the first one. Maybe everyone can keep it coming. So can RecXpress be used for bank services, meaning without Cashbook? I believe that's a question which is very much in terms of what we're saying through Cashbook, right? So so in terms of, I think for this, let's go in a little bit deeper when for this particular customer, where we can have a one-on-one discussion, because it's quite wide in the sense where which component to buy and so on. I believe you probably is using part of the solution as well. So please, we will get our partner to contact you in a sense to explain further in terms of the differences and what component you probably need in that sense. Right. I think this question, there is another question. Instead of SFTP enhancement, are you are your site planning on direct host or to host the integration?
I think Wayne will be best to answer that.
Yeah, if I understand that correctly, is the question whether Peresoft is preparing to host a host-to-host type of solution, and the answer is no on that. We found quite a lot of complexities and difficulties from the bank's side with regard, because of their security, accessing them and having a proper host-to-host solution in terms of communication directly with our product and their product. And the bank so far that we've dealt with, the best solution they come up with is they will deliver the file wherever the client wants it, and the client would then set it up on their server, wherever that may be, using whichever technology, SFTP, most preferably because of security, or even just FTP. And once set up with the client's bank, the bank will just drop the file there regularly, every day, twice a day, whatever the situation is, and RecXpress can then be configured to fetch it from there. But that responsibility will still be on the client side to set up their own SFTP delivery site for their bank. I think that's it.
All right, brilliant. Thanks, Wayne. I think the next question is do we need to purchase this software, or is it embedded in the Sage 300? Like what you saw on the screen right now, it's actually embedded in 300, but of course it's a separate SKU that you probably need to purchase. So to understand deeper on that, please reach out to your partners, then we can actually explain further on that in a sense. Yeah. And the other question in terms of data format. So this customer is asking what kind of data format is supported for the bank statement to import into RecXpress.
Okay, so I can answer that. Yes. So at the moment we import text files and CSV files. So if you download the format in XLS format, you can just save it as a CSV format, and then we'll import that. So most are actually CSV.
Yeah, definitely agree on that. Okay, thanks for the questions. Is there any more questions from the attendees? I would have expected more questions for bank recon actually.
I can sort of add to that. We have a few global formats. So we import the Quicken format, BAI format, MT940. So a lot of banks give you those options too, and we already do that.
Yeah, exactly. So to Karita and Wayne's point, right, in terms of MT940, even the general headers are similar, but each bank has a different detail line as well in a sense. So hence that's why I think Karita and Wayne have put in terms of mention as well that they will do individual for bank of individual territory as well, just to make sure that the accuracy is still there at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
So I think there's another question over here that that's asking in terms of video or screenshot in terms of the process of how it works and so on, right? I think that the best thing is if you're really more interested, I think it will be much easier to have a direct conversation with one of your partners, or then we can actually arrange a session. That would be the best way to move, instead of I throw you a screenshots and then the customer will basically understand and assume things. I think that's the last thing we want. So I think for this customer, it will be best if you're really interested, then let's have a more detailed conversation. Then we can go a little bit more detail in the sense. Okay. Yep. And again, like what Karita and Wayne have said, in terms of the bank formats, there are, I think, how many was it, Karita, in terms of in the Asia region itself?
I think Asia, we had sort of 16 to 20 formats.
If there is a need if there is a need for new banks, I mean that's something that Peresoft will be building on.
Yes, definitely. We will write new formats for people who've purchased RecXpress.
Brilliant. But in that sense, I mean, I think most of the audience next question would be, how long is the process if let's just say they will need to build one for new bank in a sense?
Most formats are pretty straightforward, and once the client has purchased, we can do it, within a week.
All right, brilliant.
We actually
Brilliant to
say
hear
3
that.
days, but I'll just extend it by 2 days.
Always put in buffer, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, there's one interesting question as well. How do I know I have successfully imported all the bank records? Is there some kind of log files and so on? How would that actually feedback in terms of successful import?
We do give you the number of records imported at the end of the import, so you could compare that back to your bank statement. I'm not sure, Wayne, if there's another way.
Yeah, so we will report on the total number of records imported each time you run the process. We obviously will report on any errors encountered along the way if there was a sudden change, maybe from the bank side, which that has happened periodically. They might add an extra field into their statement, and we have to change our format. And then, of course, when you go into our RecXpress screen, you will see the format. You will see your statement laid out for you there in a grid if you need to do a visual compare.
All right, brilliant. I think that's precisely the question where if there's an error, there will be an error message in that sense. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. If just thinking in the sense where if there's a direct feed, right? I know you're still in development. How would that looks like if it's a direct feed?
Well, yeah, we're very excited about that. So, once you've set it up, and there will be a certain amount of liaison between the client and their bank, which has got nothing to do with us or Sage. But once they've set it up, they would then have the option to, within RecXpress, to set up an automatic download or a manual download, a fetching process. So what will happen is if they have it on automatic, as soon as they open RecXpress, it will immediately go and fetch whatever statements, however many statements have accumulated since the last download, and bring them into a temporary file. If you don't have automatic download selected, you would just open RecXpress, look at your balances, see where you are, etc. Click the fetch button, and off it goes and fetches every statement since your last statement was retrieved. It will then delete the statement from your SFTP or FTP location in terms of security, download it, import it into RecXpress, where the normal Sage 300 securities will prevail, making it safe and secure in the data, and then delete any temporary files. So it really is streamlined. You literally will just open RecXpress and click one button, and all your statements will be in there. If you perchance have been away on holiday and you're now collecting a week's worth of statements, it will bring up a little form showing you each statement one by one, and you can then do your reconciliation. Let's say 5 months or 3 months, you could do 1 month at a time. You can choose a date range on how much you want to reconcile at a time and post each one separately. And that's also beneficial in terms of accuracy. You can print your reports after each one to type your month-end auditing. But it's really just getting easier. Whereas before you had to receive the statement from the bank via email, know which directory it was in, click the import button, select the file. Now you'll open RecXpress and it'll just fetch it for you. The next thing you know, it's in your recon, and it's already made a 99% match.
All right, brilliant. That's another very interesting question as well. So if I have uploaded a statement wrongly, in the sense where I duplicated the upload, what will happen in terms of that upload?
So
same file 2 times.
Correctly. Sorry?
Same file 2 times.
So duplicating the statement. So we are building some security in there. Exactly. That is one of the requirements of this new development we're on, is to prevent duplication. So we are tracking which statements we're keeping in. We're keeping unique qualifiers. We know which ones are in. We're comparing the first date range and the first date and the last date of the previous statement. And we will see if you bring it in a second time. And look, we're still in development there. We're either going to prevent it from coming in, or we're going to warn the user this possibly could be a duplicated statement, and let the user decide whether to proceed or not.
All right, brilliant.
Yeah,
and
the
if you do
second
that,
thing there, sorry, Karita, if you happen to bring to a duplicate statement, it'll bring it into the temporary file, and you can choose then whether you want to now move it from the temporary file into your recon. You can also then recognize, because it'll have the file name twice, it might have balances exactly the same, and you can then choose to delete the one before actually moving it into your current RecXpress reconciliation.
All right, brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
I mean, at the moment, if you do import your bank statement twice, you'll be able to see the second time that nothing is matched because it's already reconciled. So you would then just, there's a clear button, and you would just clear it.
And that, actually, in addition to that, Karita, correct, if you do now, currently the version that's out there, if you import the same statement twice, you will see the duplicates, and the second import won't affect your bank balances. It won't have matched anything. It actually won't have corrupted any data, and you can then fix it from there. Now we're just trying to prevent the first step, to even bring it in, to even have to go through that.
All right, brilliant,
Yes.
brilliant. Yep. I see a couple of questions in terms of how the licensing works and so on. So it's not the best place to discuss licensing structure over here. So in that sense, do reach out to your partners, and we will explain more details in terms of the licensing structures and so on in that sense. Yeah. All right. I'll just give it a minute or two if there's any more questions. If not, then we could wrap up the session in that sense. While we are waiting for the minute or two, right? For Wayne and Karita, anything in terms of bank recon that you have experience of, that you want to share off a bit in terms of, or some use cases that you just want to share with the audience till the next question comes in?
We did have a client in Canada the other day who said, I think he was installing it at a new client, and he just said, "Oh, I've forgotten how fantastic RecXpress is, because it's just saving so much time." So,
all right, always nice to hear.
Does save a lot of time.
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, I believe that's all the questions are. With this, I thank all the attendees for joining us today and spending some time with us, and stay tuned for our next episode as well. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, Chee Thong.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right, then I'll be, since most of the people are off, I'll be ending the session. Thank you very much, Wayne and Karita. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye. Bye. I would make sure I don't close everything.
Minimize.
And just leave it on. Okay.